Hey, good evening, everybody. I have to say, welcome to our Brooklyn Aquarium Society live stream Friday night meeting with the one and only Sal Silvestri. I want to thank you guys for chiming in. I was actually trying to get into questions that people were asking as we were launching the intro. And Sal, I'm going to introduce you to in a minute, was telling me about another website in which he's found a secret hiding place for all of us fish geeks out there. So we're going to get into that. Um, uh, before we get into anything else, I want to say thank you guys for the support you've had given us with the everything going on in the year. Brooklyn Aquarium Society, one of the oldest aquarium societies in the U.S. We did suffer loss of our prior president, Joe. You know, Graffinino, I get choked up still to this day. He's been such a mentor to me. And in the past, we've relied on many of you at our in-person meetings to lend a lot of support. And a lot of that we're going to bring back in 2022. So thank you guys for all your support. Another note, other clubs across the country, East Coast, I know members of the NEC have lent their helping hands to many of the local clubs and trying to make sure that they stay afloat, because it's been very tough for many of the local clubs to stay afloat. Not many of them have quite the support to keep going, and with COVID being so hard on us meeting in person, do try to reach out to your local club, reach out to your local store. And if you're not familiar with local clubs in your area, you can check out the NEC's website. I will post that in the comments down the road as we continue into the presentation. So a lot of us don't think that we don't want to meet in person. We're definitely pushing. The New York Aquarium has been trying to address all the needs of the local communities and trying to get us to meet in person. So we're working with them on that. And on another note, Greater City Aquarium Society has been meeting. You can check out the Greater City Aquarium Society website. I will also post that because sharing is caring, and I always try to lend a hand to every club because I love the hobby. I don't just love me. So I don't think I have anything else. Let me just tell you a little bit about Mr. Silvestri here, because I always get excited. I've heard his talks. I have gone to clubs and heard his talks. He's spoken at the Brooklyn Aquarium Society a few times. I consider him, if he doesn't consider himself and the world doesn't consider him, a master breeder, breeding multitudes of species, including epistogrammas. I believe, maybe, I didn't even know how many varieties of epistogramma species were out there, but I was actually listening to one of your talks and I'm like, beautiful fish, beautiful species, a gentleman with many tanks, many years in the hobby. Um, you also bred bettas, wild and domesticated bettas, which is another thing that I have struggled with, man. I mean, I have struggled. I bred a few by accident, but yeah, all around good guy, Mr. Sal Silvestri.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure, guys. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, we're going through some rough times here. The NAS, the Norwalk Club, we started having live meetings. We had the first one last month, and then we had, no, actually, the first one was September, and the second one was last month. Hopefully, with this new variant, we don't go back to the old Zoom days, but if it must be, it must be. What can I say?
Yeah, we're just trying to do the best we can, keeping everybody together. Merry Christmas, Bill. I see your messages in the side. Merry Christmas. Well, it's not Christmas yet, Bill. You speed me up. I haven't got all my shopping done yet. KG, Kev from KJE, thank you for joining us, Kev. New York Gold, my brother from another mother down the street, not too weak, always another project. Don from New York Gold, everybody's chiming in. Yeah, it's hard, but and I also, we were talking at the our NEC board meeting. Not everybody is technologically savvy. Not everybody is really able to keep up with the the virtual world. So it is a bit of a turnoff, which is why I try to cross multiple venues and trying to reach out. And if any of you out there have a club that has not been mentioned, or you need help, or want to get information on how to try to sustain a virtual meeting, shoot me a comment below, because I'm working on a virtual workshop for those of you that are handling, supporting, or sustaining aquarium societies or local aquarium clubs that are not familiar with launching a virtual meeting. I'm going to hold a workshop on that, to be announced. Check us out on the Brooklyn Aquarium Society Facebook page and website, because we're doing everything we can. We're doing everything to keep this hobby going and to keep the information out there. That's one of the big things. Information from viable sources like Sal, like people that have been proven. I mean, not for nothing. I can say a lot, you can say a lot, but proven method and practice and evidence is key. And that's why we want to get communication to all the people. Sal's Fishroom is one of legend.
No.
I know I got peaks of your tank in the other talk, one of the tanks, and it was like the natural, seeing the natural habitat of some of the species, like Mr. Silvestri is seen, is also a key in understanding how to care for the animals. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this talk. We're gonna bring it up here. ATF, welcome. What's up? ATF says hey to Sally. Says he's in the house and sharing the love. Yeah, you can bring up the presentation. We're going to be free to talk. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. You know how we do it. I'm always reading the comments. I'm on multiple devices here. I got the phone here. I got the tablet here. I got the laptop. I probably got a gremlin over there on the wing, like, and the Twilight Zone. But we're going to try to get to all of your questions. So do not hesitate to post them. Bill over here, one of our members, also notes that the Greater City Aquarium Society meets on the first Wednesday of each month. And I also post that on the Brooklyn Aquarium Society website, because if you're not familiar with them, or I believe they update the Facebook page, but I'm trying to get all of these events and calendar dates from all of the aquarium societies, including Sal's, on the NEC event website, so that we can keep everybody in the loop. So, yeah, thank you for reminding me, Bill. I'm always mad because I work late on Wednesdays. I'm gonna have to play hooky, can't make it to work today. But yeah, whenever you are ready, you can launch a presentation, and I will pull it up.
Okay, let's get started.
Let's
Remember,
get started.
questions are welcome.
Questions are key. There's no such thing as a dumb question, because
That's for sure.
I don't believe in masters. I hate to use the term masters, because, oh man, you're always learning something. We're always learning something. All right, I see it here. We're gonna pull that up. All right, without further ado, I'm going to release the floor to you.
Okay,
Can
everybody see?
Yep, we got you.
All right. Even though my title is Sal's Fishroom, I thought it best that I go through the last 45 years of this hobby. Yes, I've been at it that long. Don't ask how old I am. But there are some fish that have struck a nerve with me, that I keep going back, that I like to keep, even though I tell everybody I don't fall in love with any fish. I don't name a fish, and I don't take a fish to the vet. My rule of thumb in my fish room is that you have 6 months to a year to breed, otherwise you're out. Anyway, so you could guess that within the last 45 years, I would have too many fish to show you. So to keep it down to about an hour, let's get started. Lately, I never knew that we had local fish that are this beautiful. This little guy, and I'm talking about little, total length, this male is maybe an inch and a quarter, an inch and a half, and he is absolutely gorgeous. Most of you know the Bill Cole. he brought this to me. He said, "Listen, Sal, you start a nano tank. I'll give you something, and they are easy to keep. They will thrive in any temperature, and they breed relatively easy. All I did is provide a clump of Java moss and let them go. And after about a couple of months, I moved the Java moss and they were fry all over the place. It's a beautiful little guy. As you know, my pistols are my favorite. And this guy has remained my favorite of all. To your question, D, I have spawned probably over 75 species. And right now, I think there's about 152 species, of which most of them have yet to be named. They're going to the D numbers.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. This abacaxis, the first time I saw him, I imported him from Thailand, believe it or not. And he was gorgeous. They were excellent parents. He was such a good father that every time the female came out with fry, he wanted to steal the fry and take care of the fry himself, to the point where he would beat up the female. And came a day where I had to basically divide the tank, and it worked out fine. Right now, the only tank, the biggest tank I have is a 125, and it's in my living room. And I have wild discus in it. Discus has always had a space in my heart, and wild discus especially. Even though I love all the color variants that exist today, but they are man-made, and these are true wild, and they are just plain beautiful. Especially when you have a pair in the 125 that decide to pair off and lay eggs. This pair laid eggs on that cone. And then after a while, the eggs turned to wrigglers. Unfortunately, they did not all make it because I had tetras in that tank, and they would scoop down and steal some of the fry. But a site like this, you cannot duplicate.
Now, would you have removed the eggs if you could go back, or is that the best thing to keep them in there? Because that
No,
was a reoccurring question.
you cannot remove the eggs, because remember, the fry, the first food the fry need is the slime off the parents. So the parents has to feed the fry for at least a week. Then after that, you could wean them towards baby, newly hatched baby brown shrimp. But very few people have successfully raised discus fry artificially. You know, it's just one of those things. It's very, very hard. The latest of the pistols was the Corydoras that I had. He's a large dude. He's about 4 inches, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And the only bad thing about this guy, they hide a lot. So I only saw them when they spawned, and then after that, especially if you have plants in the tank, you hardly see them except when they spawning or coming out to eat. So he didn't last long in my tanks. There are some beautiful Congo riverine dwarf cichlids, and I had the pleasure of finding and breeding a lot of them. They're not hard. Most of them don't need really soft water. My tap water comes out of 7.1 with about 175 ppms, and I had no problem spawning any of these guys. You can see how beautiful they are. Now, the latest discovery that has given me, has given me more stress than when I used to work in corporate. These guys called Dichrosis foirni. Of course, after I saw it, I said, I have to have this fish. It's a newly discovered fish, newly now about 4 years. But They are large.
Beautiful.
These are males. Long story short, they cost a fortune, and I bought in total 3 different times of 6. I ended up every single time with 6 males. So I had no luck breeding them, but finally somebody did breed them in the States, and they gave me some fry, which I had some females, and now I have these guys in my 29-gallon tank. Hopefully they will breed, but I have not bred them yet. The love
That's
of my life. Any questions?
beautiful. No, that's a beautiful fish.
Oh yeah, but this is even more beautiful for me. The Ivan Acara adocata, the zebra acara, they're called. Some people say that they are extremely mean, but I was lucky. My pair that I had, actually, I had 2 pairs that I split a 20-gallon long, and they were both breeding in the 20-gallon long. I had more fry than I could handle. But they are, oh, get back. What are you doing? Oh, here we go. This is my pair, Adocata. She will not allow the male to come down and keep the fry company. You will see the male pop up on the upper left-hand corner, but I would have to feed the male behind that clump of Java moss because it took about 2 weeks before he was allowed to come out and join the family.
What if you pulled them out? No?
And I didn't want to. I love to see the
Natural
parental care.
parenting.
Yep. I mean, that's watch the male. See, he's up there now. He's coming out.
There he goes.
Yeah.
It's strange because the female is beautiful. Usually it's the other way around, right?
Oh, you know, she turns to that zebra pattern. She's absolutely gorgeous. Plecos, I always had the super reds. This is my line of the long fin super reds. And I've had these for the last maybe 20 years when they first started coming into the hobby. And I still have them. I still breed them. Would you believe that these guys breed easier in an African tank than in soft water? For me, anyway. That's a zucchini that I hang on the side of the tank that they just plain love.
Do you blanch your zucchini or do you just peel it and put it in?
I used to blanch it all the time. And then I said, well, you know, they have this zucchini holder. It's that spiral thing. It's easy. So I don't have to blanch them. I'll just cut a piece, put it in that holder, and hang it on the side of the tank. That's what this is, like that. But I had a matte filter. I don't know how many people know that, what it is.
I have a couple of them.
It's that big sponge filter from Swiss Tropical.
Mm-hmm.
And when you use a matte filter, you're not supposed to, change or clean the filter for at least 7 months to a year. Well, I use a matte filter, and it's a 33-gallon long. And I had these guys in it, and you'll see next, the honeycomb Pleco. And my matte filter plugged up within 2 months. And I didn't know why. I said, what am I doing wrong? Yada, yada, yada. Until somebody said, are you feeding fresh zucchini? I said, of course, I have Plecos. And I said, well, that's what's causing the mold. And it's a mold that it creates. So
I'm glad you said that because I never thought about that clogging up those matin filters. Okay. That's good to know.
Yep. And you learn something new every day. So I started blanching them again.
No, wow. See, the old ways end up working the best.
Yep.
And Kev from KG says he wants some of your super reds. He's looking at that's a beautiful long fin super red.
Yep. Anytime. I always have them. My latest, love is this guy. This is called a honeycomb Pleco. And I'm telling you, The fry look like this as soon as they come out. It's absolutely, and they're not hard to breed.
Holy
But you
man.
have to have a piece of wood in it. My male found a hole in a big piece of driftwood, and that's where he spawns all the time. And I have these going right now. I can't stop them, basically.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Of all the Corys, the Barbados was the first Cory I ever spawned. There's a quick story behind this. This is going back over 30 years. I was so happy to have spawned them. I had eggs, and I had over 60 fry. And over a period of a couple of weeks, I would end up with about 6 fry. The die-offs were unreal, and I didn't know why. So I called God.
Hello, my son. What is your question?
Well, my God was Rosario Lacorte.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Expert Cory.
he was my God. I called him, Ro, I'm having this issue. He goes, oh, just get a box filter, put some crushed coral in it, and put it in the tank with the fry. I said, what? These are saltwater and fish. Just do as I say. Yes, sir. I do as I say. And sure enough, I never had a die off again. So
Okay, very important. That is very important. And I gotta jump in because Don, New York Gold, we have been fighting with that very thing for like months. And I think we were talking about that because he's bred mini Corys, the green Corys, the lasers, and that may be the key, New York Gold, right there. I hope you're there. Crushed coral, you say?
Yep.
Okay, I hope he's got that. Write it down, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, how he found out, I have no idea. But hey, whatever he said, I would follow, and it worked. You know, here's my group now. I came down one day to my fish room, and I saw this one morning, and that's a pure example of Cory spawning. Here they go.
Yeah, they're hitting that glass. Yeah.
Yep.
That was the other thing. Like, I've seen, breeders go in there with a razor blade and try to get those eggs off the glass.
Yep.
And they're very sticky.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got people that will take it off with their fingers. That's how strong those eggs are.
Yeah, they're hard.
Yeah. Right now, I have these guys. They're gorgeous, and they're so easy to breed. And you don't have to put crushed coral with these fry. They, regular water, they do fine, but the fry are extremely, extremely small. But said this every time I do a water change, they spawn.
cooler water.
Yep, absolutely. I don't know how many of you ever had this guy. The red lizard catfish, the L010A. He's maybe 4 inches. That's the color he is. Gorgeous, docile. And if you get lucky enough to get a pair, that's a male spawning. That's my secret tube. Believe it or not, that's what they call a shrimp holding bamboo tube. And they loved this black cave tube. And that's where the male spawned all the time. The only trick to the fry, they give you lots of fry. The only trick is that you have to feed the fry, keep the fry in a small container, confined, because they don't go grazing that much. So basically the food have to smack them in the face for them to eat. Otherwise, you'll have a lot of die-offs.
No, okay. It looks like a cross between a whiptail, Pleco and a Cory.
Yeah, but they're gorgeous. But if you get a chance to get them, be careful. Don't get the gray one because it comes in 2 color variety, the red and the gray brown. I stay away from the gray brown. The chameleon whiptail cat. I just got these back. They need sand substrate, but they change colors, depending on the mood, whatever, but they change colors. And the male will carry the eggs underneath his whiskers. That's how they spawn. And that's how he incubates the fry. And I have not spawned them yet, but I heard it's not that difficult. I got these back. You remember I was telling you about the band website?
Okay, yeah.
I won 6 of these in the raffle.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's a good prize right there. You can't beat that.
My return was fantastic.
You think?
I mean,
very hard to find those.
Yep.
And then when you do, a little baby might be like $40-$50.
No, try 100. They're going for $100 an inch now. But you know, my next goal is to try to spawn these guys.
Well, you got enough there to have a running start.
Oh yeah, but I have to wait another year. They're still young. Now I also got this L494, the zebra picoltia. I got this from Eric Bodrock, and I got one spawn of about 50 fry. So I was happy about this guy. All right, going into some of all the Africans I have kept, there are many. The shell dwellers always intrigued me, but most of you know how mean they could be. Inch per inch, I think they're the meanest fish in existence. Unless you get a chance to get the Corydoras. These guys, the male gets to be about 4 inches. They're shell dwellers, but they are wimps. They're docile. I kept them with lamprictes and everything else. They spawn very easily, and they're very nice to have in your tank. You don't have to worry about somebody nipping your fingers if you put your hand in the tank that fry. My other love is the Optotomelia boaps, but neon streak. This is my young group. The male, that's the black male, but he hasn't completely changed yet. But he looks like this when he's completely mature. And
that's pretty too.
You can spot him across the room in a tank.
Now you said he'll grow up to about 4 inches, or is he going to go out like a typical cichlid?
Yep.
6 inches.
6 inches. In Ethiopia's Kalisa, one of the most beautiful of the sand dwellers. And this guy, when he's in breeding dress, that's what he looks like. Beautiful. And he still is a marvel to me.
Beautiful.
My love right now are the Xenotilapia papilios tembwe. This is what they look like. This is some of my groups. These guys are biparental. They're easy to breed, but to get fry is extremely hard because sometimes if it's a young pair, the male forgets to get the eggs from the female. And then she doesn't know what to do, and usually she ingests them. So sometimes I go in and strip the female. That's a female carrion, and they do form pair bonds. Now, a lot of people thought that once a pair formed, you have to remove everybody else because they would kill everybody else in the tank. Well, I have a group in a 75-gallon tank with Lamprictes tanganyikan. I don't know if any of you know Lamprictes. These are the Lake Tanganyikan killifish as top dwellers. And I come to find out that the first couple of spawns, I stripped the male or the female. But then later on, I come to find out accidentally that if you leave them alone, they will release the fry. And if that's my pair, you can see the fry on the sand. When danger is near, he will take the fry back in his mouth. That is something I just recently discovered. So I don't remove the carrying male or female out of the tank. I let them release and they go to a corner. I squirt some baby brown shrimp in the corner. They grow relatively fast. So now it's stress free. Once the fry get large enough, I go in there with a net and remove them. But they are gorgeous fish.
I would love to be able to find those fish. We got to talk about that website later on. Before we wrap this up, we're gonna have to talk about, because people are dying. Like, where can you possibly find those last few species of fish that were mentioned?
Besides getting from me, the lulupai, the orange form, the orange morph, which is very hard to find these days, still holds a place in my heart. I love this fish, always did from day one, going back 40 years. And right now I have an orange strain, but not as orange as this. I can't do it anymore. Joe Fordenzi from Greater City and I used to compete who could have the reddest lulupai many years ago. But it's still a gorgeous fish. Of the sips, the Leptosoma catumba is a jumbo. He gets about 6 inches. I love these guys because, as you can see, the different color patterns, they mature and they change color as they mature. Eventually, a fully mature male will either be all yellow or all black. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay. I'm going to. Oh, what happened?
I still see it.
I don't. Oh, come on. Okay. I am happy to say I was the first guy in the States to spawn this fish.
Neolampologus
Pectoralis.
pectoralis, right?
Okay. You can't even find it.
Oh, look at the black fins.
Yeah. It looks like a nigroventrus.
Uh-huh. Until you see all the pecs black. Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful.
See that little fry in the
little
back?
fry there. There you go.
Uh-huh.
Now I see the sand. It looks very much like saltwater environment. A lot of sand, a lot of hard rock.
It's brackish.
Yeah. So are you keeping the pH relatively low?
No, pH is almost 8.
Okay, so it is really close to saltwater.
They're from Lake Tanganyikan.
Okay, so they transit.
Notice my lamprictes that I have with them. And this is my container where I hatch lamprictes eggs. These are lamprictes tanganyikanus. These are males. Not too many people keep this fish because they have a short lifespan, maybe 2.5 years. But a colony of this in a tank, it's absolutely gorgeous. And they're killifish. They lay eggs in mops. I hang a mop on the side of the tank and I collect eggs.
I just found the eggs on my mop today. You're good. You're very good luck for me.
Good. Many years ago, I tried to spawn this fish and I was unsuccessful for over 15 years. Every time I get a pair, I end up with one. But I love this. They're from the Congo River. Teleogramma brachiotti. That's a female with the red belly. I was never successful until Jim Cormier from Pioneer Valley. I heard he was spawning these guys. And of course, I called him up. I said, "What's your secret?" He goes, "Oh, no secret. I just put them in a tank and they spawn." I said, "Yeah, I heard this before." So eventually he gave a talk and I come to find out that the male takes over the bottom of the tank. So the female needs a place to hide. So put some driftwood or plants where the female could go and hide on top of the tank and feed them well, put a cave at the bottom of the tank. When she's ready to spawn, he will let her down. They go in the cave and they spawn. I said, that's simple. He goes, yep. And I followed his directions and I ended up with fry. The fry,
Wow.
they're large, but the eggs are large. These fry, I just pulled them from the cave. That's a big deal.
Nice. Well, you couldn't avoid this question, but ATF asks, how many tanks do you have going now?
Oh, okay. I have 17 tanks
There
going
you
right
go.
now, of which 3 or 4 tanks have fry in it. And that is the most I've had for many years. Usually I ran between 8 to 10 tanks and a couple of tanks for fry. The reason why is that not that I'm lazy, but I find that even 17 tanks takes a lot of work to maintain
Yeah.
them. And I'm a breeder. I
I'm
love
finding
to
that
breed.
out now. I'm finding that out. It is a lot. I mean, especially like you have different parameters. I know we discussed this in a prior presentation. This tank is at 8.0, that tank is at 6.2, this tank is at 5, that tank is at 7.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and I practice what they call the rotator system. I get the fish in, I work with it. If I'm successful spawning, if I'm not, either way, they don't last that long in my fish room. I just, sell them or give it to friends or whatever have you. So my turnover in my fish room is constant. Now I'm getting a little bit lazier or I'm falling in love. And you'll see later on, my new love are these fancy plecos that you'd never see in a tank. But it's that's what makes this hobby great. Your interest changes and you go with the flow, whatever toots your horn. I should never have read the Amazonas magazine because some of you do read it, do get it. There was one issue they covered the different types of Congo tetras.
Congos, yeah, I love Congos.
Okay. And I said, oh my. So, of course, I had to have them. I have the Brishati right now that I'm trying to breed, and the blue-eyed Congo tetra I'm trying to breed. This guy I bred. I was successful thanks to Regina Spotty. I don't know how many of you know Regina. She's Eric Bodrock's wife, but she is an expert on characins. And when I asked her how to spawn this, she told me to do the opposite that I would have done. Basically, she said, not too much light on the tank, fill it up with Java moss. Do not change water for a month. Did you hear that one? Not change
For a
water
month.
for a month. Then go there, take out the Java moss, put it in another tank, and cover the Java moss where you put them, and you should have fry. Lo and behold, I did this what she said. I took the Java moss out. I put it in a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. I put the thing was 2.5-watt heater in it with very slow bubbles. I covered the bucket. After 5 days, she said, open the top slowly, only open it up maybe a couple of inches and put a light near it, because if you have fry, the fry are attracted to the light. And that's what I did. And I had fry. So I owe my success to Regina.
And now, how many did you start out with? 6? Like parents?
Yep.
6. The
6.
magic number.
This is a male. He's got the flamboyant dorsal and so forth, and he's got more color than the female. But they grow fast, and now the other Congos are something I'm going after.
Oh.
I was going to try to use that.
This is a $3 tetra.
What, $3 on what planet? Never seen that before. It looks like a rainbow.
It's a
looks
white
like one of
spinach.
those-
It's polished. It's a kerosene. It's a tetra.
Oh,
They are imported seasonal, usually in the spring.
it looks so close to a threadfin rainbow. So close.
They are gorgeous, and they're cave spawners. And the male tends the eggs, and he's still elusive. I spawned them once, and only two fry survived, but I'm not giving up. I still have them, and I'm going to continue trying to spawn them. But they lay eggs easy. It's the raising of the fry that is the tricky part.
Yeah.
But they're gorgeous. They're and they get to be an inch plus.
So now, are they like a mop spawner, or are they like just a regular scatterer?
No, cave.
Oh, cave. That's right, cave spawner.
I put like a PVC
Put those
pipe.
little round block caves in there.
Yeah, I use a PVC pipe, 1 inch PVC. That's where they lay the eggs. Suramogol from New Guinea.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, they're small. I love these guys because I lived in a house where my tap water was liquid lime, was so hard. And when I found out that these guys love brackish water, hard water, I found them, I bought them, put them in a 2.5 gallon tank. Within a month, I had more fry than I could know what to do with it. They don't eat the fry. I have fry all over the tank. Very gorgeous and easy to spawn. If you get a chance to get these guys, I recommend it. And if you get a chance to get this guy, Luminatus, he's just plain gorgeous. And you can put him in a 2.5 gallon tank and have
I actually have one of those that I lucked out and found a red neon a couple of months ago.
Good.
And I'm scared, so scared he jumps out because he's in a heavily planted tank with an open top, and I know they like to jump.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, spawn them. They're great. These miniature Battis or Darios, okay? They're the same family as Battis, and, let's call it Battis and so forth. I had the pleasure of keeping a couple of these. They're not hard to breed. You just give them lots of hiding spots. My favorite plant is Java moss. I just load up the tank of Java moss, and eventually you'll see fry coming out. This is the most beautiful one. He gets to be about like 3/4 of an inch, maybe sometimes an inch total length, but that's what he looks like. Absolutely gorgeous.
Now, what would be the ideal parameters for the Battis, in your opinion?
Regular, my water right now, it's 7.1, 7.0 tap water. It's about 175 ppms. That they have no problem spawning in that kind of water parameters.
Now, are you keeping it warm or cool, or
usually about between 74 to 76?
Oh, okay.
This is my holy grail. I bet you not too many of you have seen this pencil fish. The Espe is called the barred pencil fish.
Now, one of our supporters, Monster Aquarium.
Right.
And once again, I know Don and we've gone on many fish store tour jumps. We saw that fish there and almost had a cow because I didn't have a tank that I was going to have to set up another tank.
When did you see this fish there?
We saw that fish back it had to be in the summer. It was like toward the end of the summer. And I was like, man, I never seen that pencil fish in a store over here. But they had a small group of them, and they were not cheap.
No, they're not. But I'm going to kill Alex when I see him because I have a standing order with them.
But yeah, reach out to them because I don't know if they get them now. But this was back in the summer. And I was like, I've never seen that fish over here other than in the picture.
Oh, I told Alex, I said, if you could get these, I said, I'll take 2 dozens. And he goes, I think I could. I'll try. And now I find out that he had them. Oh, I'm gonna. I'm
Check,
not.
check, check, check with him because maybe he can get him again. you know.
Yo, I mean, these are absolutely gorgeous. They are. I mean, you never see them. I got my original 6 from Wet Spot.
And I wasn't really sure. I didn't want to go run out because I didn't have something set up already and cycled and running to go try to set something on a whim. I hate to do that without knowing that much about the fish.
Yeah. Well, now you know that I'm looking for them. So if you see them, you call me.
I send out the bat signal.
Yeah. These are gorgeous. And I made up my mind I was going to spawn them. The purple pencil fish is basically the same as the red, a different species, but they all look the same. But I was so intent of breeding them that I tried all different methods. Then one guy said, "Hey, listen, Sal, just load up a 10-gallon or 20-gallon tank." And I had a group of 12. Load it up with Java moss and let them do their thing. Oh, hey, look at the bottom of that tank. That's one of those baddest. The Myrinon is called.
Oh yeah, I see him in the
Right here.
corner there.
Yep. Well, I had to take him out because I said if these guys are laying eggs,
Oh, he'll scoop him up.
yeah, he'll scoop them up. But I left. I put a 20 long, fill it up with Java moss, waited a month, and there they are. The little bye.
Wow.
I start seeing them come out of the Java moss. I said, "Ooh, wow, what is that?"
The most pleasant surprises.
Yep. So, but they are gorgeous. And actually, when my discus finally go, my 125, I'm going to make it a planted tank, and I'm going to have a large school of those.
I really, really, really thought about having a really big, well, not really big, but even a 55 with just a herd of Java moss, just for all of these fish to dip and dive, try to get them to spawn as much as I can.
Yeah. Here's some of the bettas that I fell in love with. The rubra, mouthbrooder, a male in full colors. That's what he looks like. They're not big, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches most, and they're easy to spawn. But this is my love. He gets to be 4 inches plus.
Yeah, I've seen those on Aquabid.
Yep. I mean, when I bred them, it took me 3 tries and about $600 to finally breed this guy. But I got my money back when he finally bred.
Yeah.
They breed easy, but for him, since he's a mouthbrooder, to carry to terms, it's very rare. So when I got mine, that's my pair. When I saw that he was carrying, I removed the female. I covered the tank black. I did not feed him, nothing. And it took me 3 tries like that. And the third try, when I finally removed the cover on the tank and prayed, and I squirted some live brine shrimp, baby brine shrimp in the tank, because I said, if he carried to term and he has released the fry will chase the baby brine shrimp. And sure to hell, there they were. And they're so cute, miniature of the parent.
I found those bred by accident. One of our longtime beta gurus, Lisa Quilty, I got a pair from her at one of the meetings probably years back. I didn't even know I had a pair until I saw the fry swimming in a little like 5-gallon hex, and I was like, "Holy mackerel!" Anytime I tried to breed them, I would never get anything from them.
Yeah,
and I still have the male. He must be at least 7 years. I had him a long time.
yep,
long time.
they live a long time.
Long time.
Yep, they're gorgeous though. I love this fish. There's another little Betta Hendra. He's like 1.25 inches, and I put him and 3 females in a 2.5-gallon tank, and eventually You see the upper right corner, the fry, that's the bubble nest. And you can see the fry hanging in there. And I have oak leaves on that tank. Now I switched to almond leaves, but oak leaves at least is cheap. You go and collect them.
Another tip you gave me, because I got a quadrillion oak leaves every year right outside my house. I was buying almond leaves, and I'm like, wait a minute, I got like 15 bags of oak leaves in front of my house.
Yep. I mean, it's free.
They tan the water just the same.
Just the same. They do the same thing as almond leaves, and it doesn't cost you a penny.
Nope.
My latest love of the Episto, the Pyroa, but you can't find this son of a gun. He's so rare. I had him once, and I hate to say it, but I killed it. And I've been trying to find it again, but
no soup for you.
No. But I'm in a quest. I'm finding it again.
Beautiful fish. So I'm sure somebody out there has a whole bunch of them. Is like, oh, I need to get rid of these. It's always the way.
The fish on the left, those are the Foirnai. Now, quickly, I'm going to tell you what additional Plecos I have in my fish room now, presently.
Oh,
the 397.
Where the heck are you getting these fish from?
Banned.
Yeah.
That's the website.
Oh man, BAND.
Yep. .com.
Oh man, we're gonna check that out. You heard it here, people.
The
I'm on the other device looking for that right now.
And the leopard frog.
Now I'm seeing more and more of those kind of pop up. I think there's a lot of breeders of the leopard variety of Plecos, but the royals are popping up a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen any tigers other than that picture.
Yep. They're absolutely gorgeous.
That picture. Beautiful fish. How big do they grow out to? Like standard?
Well, total length, they could get up to 6 inches.
Yeah. See, now I'm focusing on the dwarf species just because it's easier to set up the tanks for the dwarf varieties.
Yep.
And you got a little more wiggle room to have more pairs.
You know, if you would have talked to me 15 years ago, I said, Pleco, the only ones I really liked was the zebra, because you don't see them. You know, they're in caves most of the time.
I mean, I like the zebra and I like the royals too, but the royals get pretty fat. You know, they get really big around.
They sure do.
But beautiful fish, man.
Yep. Well, that's what I have in my fish room right now. And so we'll see. Well, that's it, guys. Any more questions?
Now we always get into what's your favorite fish. You may have mentioned it already.
Yeah.
But what's the most prolific fish that you have right now? Like, what's breeding the most? What do you have the most of?
Right now, 2 weeks ago I would have said the orange Venezuelan Corys. I had like 200 fry.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah, but I sold most of them on Aquabid and Band, both places. And those Xenotilapias papilio tempe, since now I have 2 colonies, because I saved some of the fry. Now the fries are spawning. So I have, probably about, and when I say 15 fry, that's a lot, because they give you 5 to 7 fry each spawn. That's it.
And you've got that many out of them?
Yep.
So now, oh man, ATF also, he's also asking, what's your favorite African cichlid?
Oh, that is a hard question. Because I have several. The Lalupai, like I said, is still one of my favorites. And right now, the Xenotilapia papilio tempe, I just love them. And the featherfins, the Boaps neon streak, I also love. So, it's hard to just say what is my favorite. It's so
If we had a favorite, we wouldn't just have like 50 tanks. We just have
right,
one. That's the
exactly,
problem. I
exactly.
can't. Just when I think I have a favorite, you put me on to another, another. Like now, those rainbows. Oh,
You know what happens when if you're in the hobby long enough, your taste does change.
it changes. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I kept African cichlids in the 80s, when they were like, oh, there's an orange one, there's a blue one. And before they were really broken down into subspecies and like specific categories.
absolutely.
But then you're seeing smaller fish and you're doing more community stuff, or you just change.
Yeah, your interest change. I mean, there was a time in my fish room I only had apistos and Lake Tanganyikan cichlids. Basically, that's
Yeah.
it, and the super red uh, longfin pleco. But that was it. But after a while, you go, hey, I need a different kind of challenge. Then I started with the bettas, and then the domestic bettas when I bred them, and then they ended up with about 70 little containers around the house. I said
Well, that's
no,
the problem.
yeah.
That's a,
I said
I have
no,
for bettas, I have six, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 or 7 containers, and I got 2 other tanks sitting that I haven't opened up yet. And I'm
yeah.
like, you know what? Am
Well,
I? Is it really the species that I want to invest that much work into?
all the time, and it's
Yeah,
very labor intensive.
it is. You're changing that. What I mean, to then when the fry come out, that's a whole other.
Yeah,
That's a whole other project.
absolutely.
So
No, so
people,
you change. I had Corys. I discovered Corys. Then I discovered, I think, Caris and Tetras were the last that I really discovered until I saw that Weissman eye. I said, "Oh, I gotta have that one." And
now
that
someone
one,
asked. Someone also asked, "What's your name on Aquabid?" Because they're gonna be looking. They're gonna be looking for your fish in about 5 minutes.
it's Gray Fox.
Gray Fox.
Yep.
So they're gonna be hitting that in about 5 seconds.
But right now, I don't have anything in Aquavit because we're going into the winter time, and I don't ship in the winter.
Yeah, it's a pain.
It's too hard, and especially the way the USPS is right now. You can't depend on
Can't
them
rely
at
on.
all.
Can't rely on. I
No,
just went to the post office today, literally. But after we spoke, I ran out of post office. I came, and the guy in front of me was like, "Well, I mailed this priority, and it was $27. What do you mean it's not going to be there tomorrow?" and the guy behind the counter says, "Oh, this guy's trying to trick me in this question." He's like, "Yeah, I think he wanted it to get there like sometime this week."
yeah,
He's
right.
like, "Maybe it'll be next week. Maybe it'll
Yeah,
be."
I
So
mean,
I was like, "Unbelievable."
even if you ship express, right? The last couple of since the pandemic, actually, all the fish that I sold, I told them ahead of time I will not ship priority, regular priority. It's got to be priority express, one
Yeah,
day or
because
two day
they don't
guaranteed.
guarantee. Yeah, they don't give you a date. They say it's expect. The guy tells him next to me, he's like, "No, that's an expected delivery date." This
Yeah.
is so he's like, "Well, what do you mean expected? I expected to get there to priority." It
Well,
was
yeah.
just so funny.
I mean, I shipped fish to California, and it got there 7 days.
Oh,
Good thing I put them in oxygen, so they survived. But 7 days.
I tried a couple times and it turned me off. I have a buddy up in Massachusetts, and I frag a lot of coral. I grew them out a lot. I was growing them out, didn't have anywhere out, so I said, "I'll ship you. I'll set them up and send them some." They never get there on time. They always. I expect 2 days, maybe even 4 days. I mean, maybe 4 days. No, they're held a week. They're held in a warehouse. He
Yeah.
gets it there. It smells like grim death. He's like, I don't think they made it. And I just give up. I says, if I can't just bring them to you, it's a real art to shipping fish. Like I
Oh
have a
yeah.
real
Yep.
respect for people that do it successfully.
But I've been doing it for so long. Right now, I got the knack of it, but I don't control the post office. And to
Nah,
ship it FedEx or UPS is too expensive. Not too
yeah, it
many people
is.
want to pay that kind of money.
And William Mamelli says the red pencilfish were $9 each at Monster, the red ones. But
Mm.
I actually saw that variety had in that pitch. Don and I looked at that variety. I know we saw those pictures. I said, wait a minute, those pencil fish he had
Wow.
at Monster, and it was back in the summer. He
Yeah.
said the common pencil fish were $2 each. Yeah, the common ones you can find here and
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
ATF says, Sal, you have a picture of the original Tritic, okay, Traumaticranus. I'm gonna say this wrong. Jacob Fredbergy. I hacked that all up. That he had back in the 80s when they first came in.
oh my God. Yeah, that was a gorgeous fish. I back in those days, the show circuit when clubs had shows,
Hmm.
I was showing one of those. And believe it or not, in my uh, program of African cichlids, Lake Tanganyikan, Lake Malawi, when slides were in the place, I had a picture of
Hmm.
that fish, but I don't have them anymore. But that was one gorgeous fish.
Isn't it funny how we had so many more pictures back then when we were using film than now than when everything is digital?
Yeah.
Like now, I mean, I was looking at pictures that I used to breed wild Oscars. I used to try to get all kind of different patterns. I used to try to breed them for certain patterns,
Mm-hmm.
like mid crossing the wilds and the reds and crossing. And I didn't have pictures of those fish. Like I'm so upset now that I didn't have pictures of those fish then, because this is another trend. We don't see a lot of Oscar breeders like there used to be. They used to be really popular.
Yeah. But they require a big tank.
Big tank.
They get messy.
Uh-huh.
Hey, I bred Oscars in a 55-gallon tank. You
Yeah, I
know,
bred them.
I used to feed when the goldfish were a nickel each or a couple of pennies feeders.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
those were the
goldfish,
days.
right? 100 for like $5, stuff like
Right,
that.
exactly.
I remember that. That was messy.
Yeah, yes.
ATF, still waiting for you to stop by. Sal will tell you about my saltwater dip. Well, you got to tell me the secret. You guys holding out on me. I have a few dips that I use. I think Dale came over my house. He saw a few of the setups I have. I have pulsing Xenia. I've greatly downsized the saltwater setups because it was growing into too many tanks because they I mean, the other thing about this hobby is it's like a formula. You nothing worthwhile goes quick. But when you establish the formula and it takes off, now you got to deal with the volume. You got to deal with now I have 50 mushroom, or I have 50 acros or whatever. Same thing like you say, like when you're breeding things like apistos and plecos, either people have five or they have 50.
Well, a pistol, so you get a good spawn, you get 50, you get
Yeah,
70.
that's
Yeah,
that's the
I
thing.
I have one now. A new discovery. It's called a D13. They don't have a name for it yet. I must have like 60 or 70 fry in the tank. Uh,
Hmm.
they give you spawn like that. Now I have to wait until the springtime to sell them or to get rid of them.
That's the thing.
Yep.
And yeah, actually crossing over a lot of time. I had a lot of fish outside. I had all these crossbred like mountain minnows. Like Don and I, we were planning on bringing them to the NEC a while ago before all of the shutdown and everything. Because had all these white clouds, we had mountain minnows, we had all these different varieties, and I was breeding them outside in a big tub, and it
Oh,
was so many that now I had to bring them in. It was like, well, now what do I do? And I had 6 foot tubs outside, and what do you do when you had to bring them in?
you actually bringing them in, D?
I was giving them to people. I was bringing them to stores. I had plants out there. I literally threw out 5-gallon buckets of plants. Like
Friends,
I was
yeah.
like, well, what am I gonna do? I mean, you can't do but so much with it.
Yeah, you get water lettuce, all that stuff. Jesus, I
Oh,
mean,
so unbelievable.
Yep.
So let me see. Did I get anything? Want to make sure I got everybody's questions here. Like paint thrown on the fish, been bred out for years. Yeah, we've bred quite a few fish out, especially cichlids have been crossbred kind of to death at some point. Some of
Oh
them
yeah.
like
Yep.
so thinned out. Okay, the dip. It's talking about the dip. 52 years of freshwater trying to get salad and salt and corals. Is there any possibility of you going into saltwater?
No.
No, not absolute.
No.
There's your answer.
I did it.
Well, he's got brackish water.
I
I
did.
call it salt.
Listen, when my sons were young, my first venture into salt water, they wanted a nurse shark.
Uh, I think we all wanted a nurse shark at one
Yeah.
point. And what the heck are you gonna put
So
that
I got a very small nurse shark, which eventually grew big.
in? Like
And
Oscars.
that was my first venture into salt. Then I got into, corals and all that stuff. But the work involved, everybody's
Yeah.
going, no, no, once you get a system, it's fine. No, it
Oh,
isn't.
there's
No,
maintenance. That water change.
changes it. I said, you got more, you got algae, red algae, green algae. And I'm going, you know what? Forget it. Said, the way I turn over fish, said, eventually, my lady right now, she says, maybe we could get a display saltwater tank. Those fish are gorgeous. I said, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, D, I'm telling our secrets. He says, I'm telling our secrets. we were we was like, wait, these guys are willing to pay $50 for fish.
Oh, yeah.
The project started. When I tell you that it was like a mad science, mad dash.
Listen, my personal doctor, he's a hobbyist, and he is going towards the salt water. Now, if I would have known you grew your own frags and so forth, I could have put in touch with him, and you could have sold a lot of frags and corals to my doctor friend.
It came to the point where, okay, I wasn't even doing parameters. Like I set up a tank just for speed. I wanted to look at local species like killifish, things you're gonna serve, things like that. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, I had kingfish at the beginning of the year. The kingfish were almost they were getting close to a foot.
Jesus.
And I was like, well, now what the hell am I gonna do with these fish, man? And then like coral, I was like, all right, well, I have this tank set up just for coral because people can be so intimidated by like, oh, I need a reactor, I need a skimmer, I need a sump, I need a none of that. Just running it like I would run any other tank, doing water changes, everything built into the tank. I take mushrooms from one tank and put them in the other tank. Now they're splitting. Probably have 4 of them down there. So now I got more of those that I didn't plan on having. But it's just it's a wonderful hobby. Like I said, we're always learning. That's why, people, I know you want to meet in person, and I know we all miss in-person meetings, but information, just sharing information is like it's such a wonderful thing.
That's what everybody misses, not to have live meetings.
Yeah.
It's the camaraderie,
Mhm.
the sharing of information. It's the person to person, comfort feeling. We are social animals.
Yeah.
We are. You know.
Senor Sodanico, he says he used to get rid of all his fish at the club auctions. Yeah, I used to buy those
Yeah.
fish. I used to buy those fish.
Yeah. Those were the days. I used to say the biggest lie we tell ourselves, we go to an auction, says, I'm not going to buy anything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Then I'm sneaking it in the back door before the wife
Right.
sees another
Yeah.
bag of fish coming on. Oh man, Bill says he needs to win the lottery so he can buy a big house with a huge basement. Let me tell you, I've seen Andrew's tank. He has a huge basement, 17,000 gallon system, and he's still adding tanks.
Oh, I tell you, it's
17,000 gallon beautiful system. Like, we all geek out, but you still need another tank because you had to quarantine, but you had to get the angels, you had to separate them from the other fish. So that's another so no matter how big you get it, multi-tank syndrome is real.
Oh yeah, it's an addiction.
All right. Well, I think we covered everything here. We've ran on pretty well into the night. I won't keep you. I want to thank you for coming on with us. Always a great presentation, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad
Great.
you
And
guys
once
enjoyed
again, that look from the Gray Fox.
it.
We'll be looking for updates from the Gray Fox on the Aquabid.
Yeah. And if you see Alex before me, yell at him, will you?
Yell at him. All right, Alex. We're gonna yell at you, Alex.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody else.
Thank
Once
you.
again,
Good night, all.
click that subscribe button. Check us out on Facebook.
Will
Brooklyn
do.
Aquarium Society is always trying to give back to the community. So, with that, everybody, good night and be good to
night.
each other. Happy holidays. I almost forgot because we'll be meeting January. Happy
Likewise.
holidays, y'all.
Enjoy a safe one and a happy one.
Good night, everybody.